Good afternoon. Today is Friday, April 3rd. We are having our vote session for the evening. And before we start, I want to go over just a couple of things. One, it has been my immense pleasure to serve this year as chair of this committee. And the reason is because of each one of you all. I want to make sure that I also thank council because they've all been here, have experience, and had to deal with the newbie this year. So I really appreciate you all and the work that you do. So let's give them a good hand. And I want to thank Hunter, of course. Again, with all his work and also having to deal with a newbie. So I appreciate you for everything that you do. I want to thank staff, committee staff who's here. We've got Dylan Harvey and Chloe Ashby, who's not here at the moment, but usually is, and all the interns, everyone. I thank you all for everything that you do. I appreciate you. And I want to thank my vice chair, who is a newbie. So this is her first year as vice chair, and I think you've done very well, and I'm very pleased. And today, I hope you all notice that we are completely color coordinated. So there you go. Yeah, it just happened. So. No. I'm giving my Sine Die speech in case you all don't like me when Sine Die gets here. Yeah. At the end of this vote sheet, you might not like me as much. No, but seriously, with that said, we're going to start the voting in just a second. The last thing I wanted to say was, we are here to pass policy. When you pull up those code books over there, none of our names are going to be in there. So I want you all to appreciate the work that you have done, the work that you are doing. And I want you, if you didn't get your House bill crossed, right? And there is a Senate bill that we are crossing that is on the policy that you worked on. I want you to take the credit, okay? So when you go out there and you leave here and you go back to your town halls or your conversations or whatever you do, I want you to say, I helped pass, and I want you to say the Senate bill if you want to, but say, I helped change the policy for X, Y, and Z, okay? Because that's what you all did, even if it didn't have your particular name on it. And keep in mind, too, as co-sponsors, you take that credit as well, all right? Because you are a part of that as well. And I will tell you, I have been called in to speak on a bill that I was a co-sponsor on because my name was on there, and the public sees your name on there as a co-sponsor. They want you to, they expect you to know the bill, and they are comfortable asking you to speak on the bill. So for all those bills that you've said me too on, I want you all to make sure you know those bills because you may be asked questions about them. All right, my speech is over. And I was trying to give time for, are the other members coming, or shall we? Okay, all right, well, they will be here shortly, I am sure. And I am not going to hold anyone up any longer. Okay, so let us begin. We're going to start with Senate Bill 162. This is Senator West. This is a technical fix, and Claire, could you explain the bill? We had our hearing on this with Senator West, and actually, before you explain the bill, does anyone have any questions? I want to be efficient here. All right, since we don't have any questions, then is there a motion on the bill? Oh, I see a question. Thank you. And is there a second? Delegate Valentine.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I wasn't sure at what point to ask this question. I realize that this is trying to correct something so that put people on the same playing field. But what I was reading, and I've struggled with this particular bill, and my question is, from 2021, this identifies a group of individuals, if I'm correct in reading the bill, that were kind of left out from a 2021 bill or from a time constraint. But as I'm reading the one testimony from the one victims' rights advocates, it says these reforms from 2021 already account for the reality that the sentences imposed today are significantly less than those were many years ago. So they're basically, the individuals today are receiving the benefit from these changes on the front end of sentencing. So my question is, if we pass this legislation, are individuals receiving a benefit from the sentencing at the time of sentencing, and then also receiving a second and subsequent benefit from being removed from the original legislation? So they would be receiving two benefits as opposed to just one, or being put on a level playing field. That would be my question.
Okay, so I'm going to do my best to answer, and then I'm going to see if I've answered it correctly by with counsel. So my understanding is that it is not a extra benefit. I'm reading the MCVRC testimony right now. These are folks that should have been included with the bill that we passed, and unfortunately were not. So these are folks that would have gotten the benefit when they were minors, I believe. Actually, I'll let counsel explain it, because I don't want to confuse the issue.
I don't know what you had in mind to say, but I mean, basically the bill just
I just wanted I just wanted to explain who will be affected, what subset of people will be affected by the bill, and whether or not they're getting an extra benefit by, or I don't know if extra benefit is the word that you use.
I was just quoting off of the same testimony and then that's what drew my attention. I was questioning that.
Can you go to, Tim, you tell me where that paragraph is in their victim rights?
I am
Oh,
on,
multiple avenues, is that where we're? No, it's not that.
I'm on page 2, the first paragraph of page 2, from testimony written by Joanna. I can't pronounce her last name.
Okay, right, okay. And it says these reforms already account for the reality that sentences imposed today are significantly less severe than those imposed 20 or more years ago. Is that a statement that is true? I honestly don't know the answer. Because we'd have to say, just one second. I'll go, Delegate Conaway, do you want to add to this, or do you want to talk about something new?
No, I'm going to talk about this.
Okay, I mean this issue. Okay, okay. Delegate Conaway?
Oh, thank you, Chair and members. So so that I can be clear, are we talking about people that were between 18 and 25 years old who had committed murder? They weren't sentenced to life without the possibility of parole. They're not on a sex offender. They have been in prison for 20 years, and the murder that they committed or were found guilty of committing did not include a first responder. Are those the people we're talking about?
Yep.
No.
Well,
No? Okay. Delegate Embry.
If I may, so that was the Second Look Act. What this addresses, so many years ago, we passed the Juvenile Restoration Act, which applied just to people who were convicted in adult court, but when they were a minor. So we did that many years ago. And we said for anyone convicted before 2021, if they were convicted as a minor and they served 20 years, they could have a hearing to reconsider the sentence. Then we passed the Second Look Act, which was talking about people who were between 18 and 25, so not convicted as a minor, convicted as an adult. And that's what we did in the Second Look Act. What this says is, because right now, if you're a minor, after 2021, you don't get the benefit of any reconsideration. So they're cut out of any reconsideration currently. What we provided in second look does not apply currently to anyone convicted as a minor after 2021, sentenced after 2021. So this says we will treat minors going forward the same as we treated them in the Juvenile Restoration Act, meaning we will continue to give them the right to a hearing after 20 years. It is slightly different than what we provide to people who are convicted as adults, but I think that's reasonable because they were convicted as minors, and so, you know, our courts have treated people differently.
How is that different than what I read?
Well, you were talking about the people who were sentenced when they were 18 to 25, and that's the second look act. This is adjusting just for people convicted when they were minor.
So they were younger than 18.
Okay. Oh, okay, younger than 18.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Delegate Embry. That was a fine job of explaining it, and you may just well be the floor leader on this bill. Delegate Valentine.
But, so, I'm having a difficult time understanding this. So this would apply to anyone convicted after 2021?
Correct, when they were under the age of 18.
From 2021 moving forward?
Correct.
And I think that's what the victims were saying, was they aren't being sentenced like they were prior to 2021, so they're already receiving a benefit.
But we're saying, because we did in the second look act, that's prospective.
Right.
So we're saying we shouldn't treat people who are convicted as minors differently than we're treating people who are convicted after the age of 18.
Okay.
Right. And
Does that make sense?
I'm trying.
Yeah.
And also,
They would be treated the same as those that we put in second.
From 18 to 25.
Not exactly.
Not exactly the same, but it would come into somewhat of alignment.
and
We knew this when we passed second look. That was a question that came up, and Senator West actually raised that as a concern.
This group of individuals.
That group of individuals who would come subsequently, right? Who might come subsequently.
Okay.
And furthermore, if they are being sentenced that much differently, they wouldn't have been in for 20 years.
That's right.
So they wouldn't qualify on there. Delegate McComas?
I have a question, because I have a friend whose friend was killed by their son, and I think it was the husband, the wife, and maybe another kid killed. And so she has always said, don't ever let this kid out. Don't ever let him see the light of day. My concern is would that affect somebody that was before 21, before the bill was initially passed? Because, I mean, the person will have rights of parole, but I think they were under 18 when they did the deed.
So, Delegate Embry, I don't know if you heard that question, but I need you to answer that question, please. Can you ask it again, Delegate McComas?
Yeah. Bottom line is, I don't know the particular date that the murders occurred, but the point is that the friend knows the kid, and she basically said, if he gets out, he's going to kill somebody else because he's just a bad dude. I mean, 3 people in the family and just one right after the other. And so the question is, assuming he was a minor when he did it, and I don't know when he did it, well, it's got to have been probably in the 90s at some time, I would suspect. So would he benefit from this?
So he already, if he was a minor when he was convicted and sentenced?
I suspect he was, but I don't know.
If he
100%
was, and he
sure.
was obviously sentenced before 2021, so he's currently eligible for a motion for modification under current law. So this actually wouldn't affect him.
Okay.
This would apply to someone like him who was sentenced after 2021
So,
and served 20 years. So we're looking 20 years out from 2021 before the first people would be eligible.
well, it works if they're reformed, but if they're not reformed, they should never see the light of day.
Well, all it allows them is to go before a judge. Yeah.
Let them out, it's just gonna let them have a hearing for it.
Yeah.
It's not an automatic. It's just, it's not an automatic, and also it is a group of people who should have been included when we passed the law to begin with.
Do we know how many folks this applies to?
It might be in testimony.
Pardon?
It might be in testimony. I don't know off the top of my head.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it might be in testimony if you want to review the testimony.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Do we have any other questions? Okay. Seeing none, please call the roll.
Senate Bill 162, Senator West, Criminal Procedure, Motion to Reduce Duration of Sentence, Repeal of Sentencing Date Limitation. The Vice Chair. The Vice Chair votes aye. Delegate Valentine. Delegate Valentine votes no. Delegate Embry. Delegate Embry votes aye. Delegate Cardin. Delegate Cardin votes aye. Delegate Phillips. Delegate Phillips votes aye. Delegate Congolo. Delegate Congolo votes no. Delegate Stinnett. Delegate Stinnett votes aye. Delegate Simmons. Delegate Simmons votes aye. Delegate Boucher is absent. Delegate McComas. Delegate McComas votes no. Delegate Moreno. Delegate Moreno votes aye. Delegate Aricon. Delegate Aricon votes no. Delegate Taylor. Delegate Taylor votes aye. Delegate Simpson. Delegate Simpson votes aye. Delegate Mangione. Delegate Mangione votes no. Delegate Moon. Delegate Moon votes aye. Delegate Conaway. Delegate Conaway votes aye. Delegate Woods. Delegate Woods votes aye. Delegate Williams. Delegate Williams votes aye. The tally is 13-5-0-0-1. The motion carries.
Thank you. We're going to move on to Senate Bill 140. And there are amendments. Are there? Okay, so there are amendments. And we'll tell you what the amendment does in just a second. Oh, confirms to the House.
Just make technical corrections and remove some open-ended language in the criminal prohibition, which we did in the House bill.
Are there any questions? Seeing none, all in favor of the amendment, please raise your hand. Okay, it is unanimous with a special wave. On the bill as amended, is there a motion? Second. Thank you. We have a motion and a second for favorable on the bill as amended. Are there any questions for Senate Bill 140 as amended? All right, seeing none, please call the roll.
Senate Bill 140, Senator West, Criminal Law, Benefits Exploitation. The Vice Chair. Yes.
Yes. Thank you. I vote yes, but I need to go on the record as saying that I believe there are 3 or 4 felonies on this voting list today. I think we all need to be cognizant of the effect of felonies on our citizens. Housing, employment, education. I believe we're creating a whole underclass of citizens in our state. And I think we just need to be more cognizant of it, especially when there's property crimes. And this bill alone, if your crime is over $1,500, it is a felony. So especially since I already voted for these bills in the House, you know, I'm not going to switch now, but I really want us to be cognizant as we go forward. Madam Chair and I have already spoke about it, and I just wanted to go on record. Thank you so much.
The Vice Chair votes aye. Delegate Valentine. Delegate Valentine votes aye. Delegate Embry. Delegate Embry votes aye. Delegate Cardin. Delegate Cardin votes aye. Delegate Phillips. Delegate Phillips votes aye. Delegate Congolo. Delegate Congolo votes aye. Delegate Stinnett. Delegate Stinnett votes aye. Delegate Simmons. Delegate Simmons votes aye. Delegate Boucher is absent. Delegate McComas. Delegate McComas votes aye. Delegate Moreno. Delegate Moreno votes aye. Delegate Aricon. Delegate Aricon votes aye. Delegate Taylor. Delegate Taylor votes aye. Delegate Simpson. Delegate Simpson votes aye. Delegate Mangione. Delegate Mangione votes aye. Delegate Moon. Delegate Moon votes aye. Delegate Conaway.
Voting yes, and I'm glad it was brought out that we might need some more education on what these penalties are and how serious a felony is and how a felony can follow you for the rest of your life and change your whole life. And thank you.
Delegate Conaway votes aye. Delegate Woods. Delegate Woods votes aye. Delegate Williams. Delegate Williams votes aye. The tally is 18-00001. The motion carries.
Thank you. We're going to move on to Senate Bill 514. This is there amendment or is it? Yes. It has been amended. Move the amendment. Thank you. Thank you. So on the amendment, there's been a motion favorable and a second, and You all have the amendment, but we can still tell you what it does, hopefully.
The amendments just make technical and clarifying changes.
I'll give everyone a chance to, I see everyone looking at your computers, so I'll give you a chance. And I see a question, Delegate Moon?
Sorry, we're on Senate Bill 514.
That's correct.
I guess the only question I have, are we keeping or not keeping the commissioner language from the Senate bill?
We are keeping the commissioner language from the Senate bill. That's part of the amendment, that's not part of the amendment that Claire just explained. So we are
We
keeping
are
that.
adding our technical amendments to
The
the existing Senate bill.
Yes.
Got it. Okay, thank you.
All right, are there any other questions? Delegate Cardin?
That we had this discussion on the House bill, and we determined that it wasn't necessary because in present practice, for all intents and purposes, it would never happen. And what you're doing is, if you're defining no arrest on this one, it might be a suggestion that there could be arrests for all the other ones, which we don't want in the second place. However, of course, I would like that language all the time, but that's okay.
Delegate Arcon?
Thank you, Madam Chair. So this is different than the one that we passed now? And
It is different from the one that we passed, and I don't have all of the changes before me, but,
and so
different is that commissioner piece.
okay, so the only part that is different is the commissioner piece essentially says you can't issue, the commissioner cannot issue an arrest warrant.
what was the reasoning behind that? I mean, I know that these are like, bar fights or whatever, but you might still want to arrest somebody for that, right?
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
I'm just thinking, why would we not want someone to be able to be arrested if needed for one of these assaults? Is that essentially what we're saying?
That is what we're saying, and Delegate Moon was raising his hand. I think he wants to answer that question.
Yeah, again, this is non-domestically related case. Those are already out of the orbit of the case. So people for which you could have a protective order are not in this, in the scope of this to begin with, and there's no injury. You can't also have an injury or anything like that. So,
Oh, okay, so it's not a bar fight then? I thought we were, so a bar fight's still second-degree assault? Okay, so somebody's injured, this would be, okay, so there's no injury, assault. And then what happens if the person just doesn't show up for court? Can there be a warrant issued at that point? Oh, yes?
I heard an always. Delegate Moon, did you want to elaborate?
When a must appear.
And this is a must appear?
Can issue an arrest warrant or a bench warrant on a failure to appear.
Okay, so this still has must appear. If they don't appear, then the judge can still say, yes, I want them here. They could do, what's it called, a body attachment or whatever, and they can make them come in.
Anything with jail time is a must appear.
Okay, okay.
Delegate Valentine?
Thank you, Madam Chair. And I just wanted to be on the record myself. I was really excited about this bill. I've thought third-degree assault was needed for many, many years, and I was happy to vote for the House bill when we pushed that out of committee. I'll be voting no on this bill simply because of the provision for the district court commissioner provision that was in the Senate version. I don't know why this wording has to be in for the only statute in Maryland. There is no other statute in Maryland that I can think of that carries the period of incarceration as a penalty that this provision is included. So for the record, that's why I'm voting no on this bill today.
Thank you. Are there any other comments or questions? All right, seeing none. We did the amendment, I thought. No, we didn't? Okay, thank you. On the amendment, please, all in favor, please raise your hand. I need a whole hand, not, no, I'm not talking about you. Delegate Taylor, are you voting? All right. On the amendment, it looks like, did you, and all opposed, please. Okay, looks like we have 5 opposed, 6 opposed. I know, I got an extra one.
Well, really, he's making it for the one fast.
Oh, never mind, I'm not voting, I'm voting in favor.
Oh, in favor of the amendment?
I'm voting in favor of the amendment.
Okay, the amendment passes. On the bill as amended.
Move favorable. Second.
Thank you. On the bill as amended, are there any other questions on the bill as amended, Senate Bill 514? All right, seeing no questions, please call the roll.
Senate Bill 514, Senator Smith, criminal law, third-degree assault. The Vice Chair. Vice Chair votes aye. Delegate Valentine. Delegate Valentine votes no. Delegate Embry. Delegate Embry votes aye. Delegate Cardin. Delegate Cardin votes aye. Delegate Phillips. Delegate Phillips votes aye. Delegate Congolo. Delegate Congolo votes no. Delegate Stinnett. Delegate Stinnett votes aye. Delegate Simmons. Delegate Simmons votes aye. Delegate Boucher is absent. Delegate McComas. Delegate McComas votes no. Delegate Moreno. Delegate Moreno votes aye. Delegate Arcon. Delegate Arcon votes no. Delegate Taylor. Delegate Taylor votes yes. Delegate Simpson. Delegate Simpson votes aye. Delegate Mangione. Delegate Mangione votes no. Delegate Moon. Delegate Moon votes aye. Delegate Conaway. Delegate Conaway votes aye. Delegate Woods. Delegate Woods votes aye. Delegate Williams. Delegate Williams votes aye. The tally is 13-5-001. The motion carries.
Okay, we're on Senate Bill 230. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. And there are no amendments. Okay, so on Senate Bill 230, there are no amendments, and I have a motion favorable and a second. Are there any questions? Concerns? We got it favorable. We got the motion. All right, seeing none, please call the roll.
Senate Bill 230, Senator West, criminal law, third-degree sexual offenses, burglary. The Vice Chair. The Vice Chair votes aye. Delegate Valentine. Delegate Valentine votes aye. Delegate Embry. Delegate Embry votes aye. Delegate Cardin. Delegate Cardin votes aye. Delegate Phillips. Delegate Phillips votes aye. Delegate Congolo. Delegate Congolo votes aye. Delegate Stinnett. Delegate Stinnett votes aye. Delegate Simmons. Delegate Simmons votes aye. Delegate Boucher is absent. Delegate McComas. Delegate McComas votes aye. Delegate Moreno. Delegate Moreno votes aye. Delegate Arcon. Delegate Arcon votes aye. Delegate Taylor. Delegate Taylor votes aye. Delegate Simpson. Delegate Simpson votes aye. Delegate Mangione. Delegate Mangione votes aye. Delegate Moon. Delegate Moon votes aye. Delegate Conaway. Delegate Conaway votes aye. Delegate Woods. Delegate Woods votes aye. Delegate Williams. Delegate Williams votes aye. The tally is 18-0-0-0-1. The motion carries.
Thank you. We are now at Senate Bill 221. Thank you. On the bill, we have a straight favorable. Do we have any questions? All right, seeing none. I want to give everybody time to review. SB 221. Yes, Delegate Moon.
Are we just curious if we're thinking to move House bills along with some of the Senate bills?
No, I'm not
Okay.
moving House bills. I have 2 House bills that I'm going to move with the Senate bills, and that's it, because I had promised over. But I did make I made a little speech before when you weren't here.
Oh,
And I
okay.
said that.
You said already.
Yeah.
Just trying to help my buddy Moreno out. Thank you.
I'm sorry. Yeah. So Delegate Moreno, you owe Delegate Moon something, his favorite beverage, cupcake, something. Okay. So on Senate Bill 221, please call the roll.
Senate Bill 221, Senator James, Criminal Law, Child Pornography, Prohibitions and Penalties. The Vice Chair. The Vice Chair votes aye. Delegate Valentine. Delegate Valentine votes aye. Delegate Embry. Delegate Embry votes aye. Delegate Cardin. Delegate Cardin votes aye. Delegate Phillips. Delegate Phillips votes aye. Delegate Congolo. Delegate Congolo votes aye. Delegate Stinnett. Delegate Stinnett votes aye. Delegate Simmons. Delegate Simmons votes aye. Delegate Boucher is absent. Delegate McComas. Delegate McComas votes aye. Delegate Moreno. Delegate Moreno votes aye. Delegate Aricon. Delegate Aricon votes aye. Delegate Taylor. Delegate Taylor votes aye. Delegate Simpson. Delegate Simpson votes aye. Delegate Mangione. Delegate Mangione votes aye. Delegate Moon. Delegate Moon votes aye. Delegate Conaway. Delegate Conaway votes aye. Delegate Woods. Delegate Woods votes aye. Delegate Williams. Delegate Williams votes aye. The tally is 18-0001. The motion carries.
Thank you. Now we're moving to Senate Bill 334. We have amendments.
Move the amendments.
Is there a second? Second. Holly, do you mind going over the amendment?
Okay, so I'm going to start with how the Senate sent the bill over. So SB 334, Amendment Number 1, the changes are technical. The Senate bill also added definitions for a common household tool, cruciform trigger bar, alters the definition of machine gun convertible pistol, and authorizes a person who lawfully obtain and possess a machine gun convertible pistol to transfer it to certain immediate family members, which is defined under the bill. The Senate also added additional exceptions to the Act's provisions to include the temporary gratuitous exchange of a machine gun convertible pistol, or the sale, offer for sale, purchase, receipt, or transfer of a machine gun convertible pistol to or by a person who is currently a law enforcement official or has retired as a law enforcement official in good standing. The amendment that we are proposing that's in your packet, the Senate also said that the Department of State Police shall adopt regulations and implement and create a list. Let me go back to that one. So we strike shall and substitute the Department of State Police may adopt regulations to implement the bill, including publishing a list of prohibited machine gun convertible pistols. This is how both bills were introduced. It was may, it was not shall. And so we've taken it back, just that one part back to may.
And do not be dismayed. We have talked to the Senate and they appear to have agreement with the may. So, are there any questions on the amendments? I think we got a motion. Thank you. We have a motion on the amendment. All right, all in favor of the amendments, please raise your hands. Looks unanimous-ish. Nope, all opposed? Okay, there we go. Okay. I'm seeing things here, sorry. All right, on the bill as amended, I'm sorry, yeah. So the amendment passed, and on the bill as amendment, I heard a motion and a second, so thank you. Yep, thank you. Thank you. Delegate Conaway, discussion.
Thank you, Chair. In looking at this bill and doing some research, I was wondering to myself, how many, yes, to myself, because I don't want to ask you a question. Okay. And I don't want to ask counsel a question. So I just want to say the information. Under machine gun convertible pistols, so far, there's 6 different type of Glocks that I see listed that are supposedly convertible. Then there's something called a Sig Sauer, and there are 5 different versions of that, like a 9mm, 40, 45. Then there's Smith & Wessons. So we're talking about a lot of firearms here that will be banned, right?
Unless they.
Yeah. Oh, well, thank you, Delegate. Yes.
Unless they modify their design, so to prevent these auto sears, colloquially known as Glock clips, from attaching to them. But there are 9mm handguns that are designed in a way that does not allow these clips to be attached to them. I think Beretta is one such manufacturer, and there's lots of other manufacturers out there that do exist that design their guns in a way that prevents these clips from being attached.
So we know that the Glocks, there's certain ones that the clip can be attached to. We know Beretta, I guess they're not attachable.
Right.
Now, because the two companies are in the same industry, we'll be giving Beretta an advantage because they already have the design, and these other people had to come back and modify their design. And is their design patented?
I'm not a patent trademark attorney. I would assume that those designs are readily able, that anyone can utilize those designs, since that design is used by multiple different manufacturers across the board. So I don't think that, say, Glock would be prevented from using the type of design that, say, Beretta uses, because there's lots of gun manufacturers that will utilize a very similar design.
So we're just saying adapt another design that's in the market. That's what we're saying. Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Delegate Arcon?
Thank you, Madam Chair. My understanding is that Glock actually has already remedied this issue. Unfortunately, the way this bill is written, their new style of firearm would still fall under this law just because it still has the cruciform trigger bar. The switches don't work on it, but because of the way this has been written to include this particular, we're on page, I don't know what page it is because it's got an amendment. Oh, it's so quick to move to. I'm so sorry, it's really bouncy over here. Page 2 of 8, I think. Yeah, page 2 of 8 of the amendment. So it says cruciform trigger bar on line 25 under section J. So because of that, even the new designs that make it impossible to use these switches would still be banned. So that, also just, this is, I know I say this a lot, this is a blatantly unconstitutional law. I mean, it's common use firearms cannot be banned. It's been tested already many times and has failed. So this is another bill that will turn into an enjoined law that taxpayers are going to have to pay to defend. So that's my problem with it. Also, even if it was properly written, I think it would still be unconstitutional. But because of the cruciform bit, it also actually bans the safer versions that Glock created. So I'll be a crimson no.
Crimson no. Can I respond, Madam Chair? Okay, thank you so much, Delegate, for your input on that. I don't know if you're referring to the press release that Glock issued the latter part of last year, where they did talk about the modification of their design. Unfortunately, shortly after that design was released, within 6 days, criminals were out on the street, even with the new design guns, modifying those guns and attaching the switches even to the most recent design that has been issued by Glock. And so because of that, you're right, they would still continue to be subjected to this bill because unfortunately, even with that new modified design, the switches can still be attached. And again, they can always change their design in a way where there are other manufacturers who have designed their guns in a way that prevents these switches from being attacked. So, that's a business decision that they've made in regarding the constitutionality piece. There's also already similar legislation that has been enacted in the state of California, and yet at this point, that legislation has not been deemed constitutional. There's also similar states across the country that have similar bills that are pending that are very similar to this. They haven't passed yet, as far as I know of, but to date, there has not been any successful challenges with regards to the constitutionality.
Okay. Do we have any other thoughts, comments, questions? All right, seeing none. I have one question. Just give me 1 second. All righty. Thank you, everyone, for your indulgence there. I just wanted to make sure I was getting some things correct procedurally. All righty, so I see no further questions. Please call the roll on Senate Bill 334.
Senate Bill 334, Senator Love, Criminal Law, Firearms, Machine Gun, Convertible Pistols. The Vice Chair. Vice Chair votes aye. Delegate Valentine. Delegate Valentine votes no. Delegate Embry. Delegate Embry votes aye. Delegate Cardin. Delegate Cardin votes aye. Delegate Phillips. Delegate Phillips votes aye. Delegate Congolo. Delegate Congolo votes no. Delegate Stinnett. Delegate Stinnett votes aye. Delegate Simmons. Delegate Simmons votes aye. Delegate Boucher is absent. Delegate McComas. Delegate McComas votes no. Delegate Moreno. Delegate Moreno votes aye. Delegate Archon.
Thank you so much, Madam Chair. So the California law hasn't even gone into effect yet. It's not even set to go into effect until July. The court date was scheduled for January, but was postponed a little bit. So, I mean, there are actually no laws in this country actually on the books like this. So for the record, there's nowhere that's gotten away with this yet, and there won't be because it's unconstitutional. God bless.
Delegate Archon votes no. Delegate Taylor. Delegate Taylor votes aye. Delegate Simpson. Delegate Simpson votes aye. Delegate Mangione. Delegate Mangione votes no. Delegate Moon. Delegate Moon votes aye. Delegate Conaway. Delegate Conaway votes no. Delegate Woods. Delegate Woods votes aye. Delegate Williams. Delegate Williams votes aye. Chair, the chair votes aye. Cool. I'll wait. Okay. The tally is 12-6-001. The motion carries.
Delegate Taylor.
Wondering if this was one of the bills that the House bill would be moved along with the Senate bill?
Yes, and you asked that so nicely and kindly and.
Second page.
Yes, Delegate Moon.
Second page.
Vote on the Senate bill can be considered the same as the vote on the House bill.
Is there any objection to the House bill, to the vote on the House bill to be the same as the Senate bill? Any objection? Okay, thank you, Leader Moon, and thank you, Delegate Taylor. And with that kindness, Delegate Taylor, it's very hard to refuse you anything. All righty. Senate Bill 739. Thank you. Is there a second? Second. All righty. I don't think we have any amendments.
There are.
Oh, okay, we do?
This is a joint.
voted on the House cross-file earlier this session. So the only changes were that the Senate included, this bill is requiring the University System of Maryland to conduct a study to evaluate the relationship between climate change, the availability and price of homeowners insurance, and emergency and disaster preparedness. And the Senate added one additional representative to coordinate with USM on the study. And the only other difference is that, and ENT was fine with that. And then the Strategic Energy Investment Fund authorization for the study was $150,000 in the Senate, but ENT changed that to $100,000, which is the amount in the House bill and in the budget.
Move the amendment.
Okay. So you all heard the amendment. Is there any discussion on the amendment? Seeing none, everyone in favor of the amendment, please raise your hand. All righty. All opposed, please raise your hands. All opposed? Delegate Arakan. All righty. It is not unanimous, but the amendment passes. Now on the bill as amended. Thank you. Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Okay, there's a whole lot going on. All right. Are there any questions on the bill as amended? We got that. Seeing none, please call the roll on Senate Bill 739.
Senate Bill 739, Senator Kramer, Climate Change, Homeowners Insurance, and Emergency Management Study. The Vice Chair. The Vice Chair votes aye. Delegate Valentine. Delegate Valentine votes no. Delegate Embry. Delegate Embry votes aye. Delegate Cardin. Yes. Delegate Cardin votes aye. Delegate Phillips. Yes. Delegate Phillips votes aye. Delegate Congolo. Delegate Congolo votes no. Delegate Stinnett. Delegate Stinnett votes aye. Delegate Simmons. Delegate Simmons votes aye. Delegate Boucher is absent. Delegate McComas. Delegate McComas votes no. Delegate Moreno. Delegate Moreno votes aye. Delegate Arakan. Delegate Arakan votes no. Delegate Taylor. Delegate Taylor votes aye. Delegate Simpson. Delegate Simpson votes aye. Delegate Mangione. Delegate Mangione votes no. Delegate Moon. Delegate Moon. Delegate Moon votes aye. Delegate Conaway. Delegate Conaway votes yes. Delegate Woods. Delegate Woods votes aye. Delegate Williams. Yes. Delegate Williams votes aye. The tally is 13-5-001. The motion carries.
Thank you. We're moving on to Senate Bill 806. I do not believe we have any amendments. Okay. We have a motion on the bill, Senate Bill 806. Are there any questions? All right, hearing none. I hear a lot of little chatter, but I hear no questions, so.
Did we pass this out?
Yes, we did.
It was unanimous, right?
And it's jointly assigned, and we did pass it out.
Unanimous.
And they passed it out, assigned with health, and they passed it out as well.
Okay.
All righty. Please call the roll.
Senate Bill 806, Chair, Joint Audit and Evaluation Committee, Health Occupations Criminal History Records Checks. The Vice Chair. The Vice Chair votes aye. Delegate Valentine. Delegate Valentine votes aye. Delegate Embry. Delegate Embry votes aye. Delegate Cardin. Delegate Cardin votes aye. Delegate Phillips. Delegate Phillips votes aye. Delegate Congolo. Delegate Congolo votes aye. Delegate Stinnett. Delegate Stinnett votes aye. Delegate Simmons. Delegate Simmons votes aye. Delegate Boucher is absent. Delegate McComas. Delegate McComas votes aye. Delegate Moreno. Delegate Moreno votes aye. Delegate Arakan. Delegate Arakan votes aye. Delegate Taylor. Delegate Taylor votes aye. Delegate Simpson. Delegate Simpson votes aye. Delegate Mangione. Delegate Mangione votes aye. Delegate Moon. Delegate Moon votes aye. Delegate Conaway. Delegate Conaway votes aye. Delegate Woods. Delegate Woods votes aye. Delegate Williams. Delegate Williams votes aye. The tally is 18-0001. The motion carries.
Thank you. We're going to move on to Senate Bill 820. This bill has been amended.
Move the amendment.
Thank you. Claire, do you mind explaining what the amendments are?
It should be in the packet. I'm sorry, everything's a lot of work for me. Okay, I got them.
So this is another jointly assigned bill. Health is primary. We voted on the House bill. There were some changes to this version, and this has to do with the so-called gas station drugs that the bill is addressing. They kept everything from the Senate because it's substantively the same as the House bill, just worded differently. And they added a rebuttable defense that we had in the House bill. And so those are the only changes.
Thank you. Do we have any questions? Delegate Williams?
Yes, do we know if the Senate is going to conform the House bill so that it matches the Senate bill that is in front of us today? Or we don't know?
I never know what the Senate is going to do,
Well, that's true too.
so I don't know.
Okay.
Are there any other questions? All right. Seeing none on the amendment, please raise your hand if you're in favor. All right, it is unanimous-ish. On the bill as amended, Senate Bill 820.
Move favorable as amended.
Thank you. Are there any questions on the bill as amended? All right, seeing none, please call the roll.
Senate Bill 820, Senator Hayes, Alcohol, Tobacco, and Cannabis Commission, Unauthorized Consumable Products, Enforcement and Seizure. The Vice Chair. Yes. The Vice Chair votes aye. Delegate Valentine. Delegate Valentine votes aye. Delegate Embry. Delegate Embry votes aye. Delegate Cardin. Yes. Delegate Cardin votes aye. Delegate Phillips. Yes. Delegate Phillips votes aye. Delegate Congolo. Delegate Congolo votes aye. Delegate Stinnett. Delegate Stinnett votes aye. Delegate Simmons. Yes. Delegate Simmons votes aye. Delegate Boucher is absent. Delegate McComas. Yes. Delegate McComas votes aye. Delegate Moreno. Delegate Moreno votes aye. Delegate Aricon. Delegate Aricon votes no. Delegate Taylor. Delegate Taylor votes aye. Delegate Simpson. Aye. Delegate Simpson votes aye. Delegate Mangione. Yes. Delegate Mangione votes aye. Delegate Moon. Yes. Delegate Moon votes aye. Delegate Conaway. Delegate Conaway votes aye. Delegate Woods. Delegate Woods votes aye. Delegate Williams.
Yes.
Delegate Williams votes aye. The tally is 17-1001. The motion carries.
Thank you. We're going to move on to Senate Bill 475. We have amendments.
Second.
Thank you. And Claire, would you mind telling us what the amendments do?
The amendments just alter the admissibility exception that's in the bill.
I'm sorry. Did you finish?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions on the amendments? Delegate Cardin?
I don't know if this is the appropriate time to ask, but can I ask to move the House bill with the Senate bill on this one and just conform it?
Yes, you may, and let's get this vote on the Senate bill first, and then we'll go to.
I thought maybe we could do the amendment, could be the same amendment. We could do it so that the amendment carries forward to the House bill, so we don't do it twice, but.
I don't know how to do that, but
Okay.
it sounds right. It sounds fine. I just don't know how to do it that way.
If we conform it, that's doing the same thing.
Yeah, we're just gonna, yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
Okay. So we have the amendment. We discussed the amendment. Do we have any questions on the amendment? All right, seeing none. If you're in favor of the amendment, please raise your hand. All right, if you are in opposition of the amendment, please raise your hand. All righty. It is not unanimous, however, the amendment passes. Thank you. On the bill as amended, we're at Senate Bill 475. And do we have any questions? No questions? Please call the roll.
Senate Bill 475, Senator Sidner, Criminal Procedure Evidence Protecting Artists' Creative Expression, the PACE Act. The Vice Chair. Yes. The Vice Chair votes aye. Delegate Valentine. No. Delegate Valentine votes no. Delegate Embry. Delegate Embry votes aye. Delegate Cardin. No. Delegate Cardin votes aye. Delegate Phillips. Yes. Delegate Phillips votes aye. Delegate Congolo. Delegate Congolo votes no. Delegate Stinnett. Delegate Stinnett votes aye. Delegate Simmons. Yes. Delegate Simmons votes aye. Delegate Boucher is absent. Delegate McComas. No. Delegate McComas votes no. Delegate Moreno. Delegate Moreno votes aye. Delegate Arcon. Yes. Delegate Arcon votes no.
I got excited for a second, sorry guys. It's really like a sponsor. Still no. It's not too late.
For the record, Delegate Arcon is a no. And we will continue with the roll. Delegate Taylor. Delegate Taylor votes aye. Delegate Simpson. Yes. Delegate Simpson votes aye. Delegate Mangione. Delegate Mangione votes no. Delegate Moon. Delegate Moon votes aye. Delegate Conaway. Yes. Delegate Conaway votes aye. Delegate Woods. Delegate Woods votes aye. Delegate Williams. Delegate Williams votes aye. The tally is 13-5-001. The motion carries.
So now, Delegate Cardin, did you want to make your motion?
Motion to conform the House bill, House cross file to the Senate version and move it along with.
Right, and conform, and is your motion that we also have the same votes? How did you say it, Delegate Leader Moon?
And
you say it perfectly.
That the votes for the Senate bill be considered the votes for the House bill.
There you go. All right.
Now, Madam Chair.
Is there a second to that motion?
You had a second already.
All right. Anyone opposed to conforming the House bill and the votes of the Senate bill be treated as the same as the votes for the House bill? Is there anyone opposed to that? All right. Seeing none. We are going to do that. Now, Delegate Phillips.
I'm going to ask something. Please don't be upset with me.
Can you use your mic?
He wants to add on himself.
No, I would like to be, I didn't realize I was not on that bill. I would like to be added as a co-sponsor to that bill. We made an amendment.
All right. So here's the thing. I agreed to do one thing.
I understand. And that's why I said don't.
Yep, and that's okay. I agreed to do one thing, and that was the one thing that we just did, that I would pass the Senate and the House bills, I would pass the House bill with the Senate bill. I have only done that on 2 bills thus far because I promised them before I made that policy. So on this one, I prefer, and when we do move a House bill, I'd rather we not put co-sponsors on it for the simple fact that it is more effort than just raising our hands and saying we want to be co-sponsors.
Can I make a suggestion?
Sure.
Let him be the floor leader, and then he can say something on the floor like, I wish I was a co-sponsor on this.
I think that's an excellent idea.
Thank you. Oh, jeez.
Delegate Conaway.
Yes, thank you, Chair. Question. If another delegate is the floor leader, and can he offer an amendment to amend itself on the floor? I didn't ask that.
Okay.
That's not what I
Okay. Hold on. And the answer is?
No. The answer is yes, he can, but we're not doing that now.
Right.
Thank you.
Exactly.
So that's no and add.
Okay. Okay. All righty. All right. But you will be the floor leader on this, Delegate Phillips. Thank you for volunteering to be the floor leader. All right. Now we're going to move on to, we only have 2 more bills. Hang in there. We have 2 bills because we moved 577, House Bill 577. Just give me 1 second here. We're going to jump to Senate Bill 822. To jump to Senate Bill 822, we are reviving this from yesterday? All right, so we had a vigorous and for some exhaustive debate on this bill yesterday, Senate Bill 822. Is there a motion? Are there any questions, thoughts, or concerns?
All my questions have been answered.
All your questions have been answered. That's a wonderful thing to hear. All right, please call the roll on Senate Bill 822.
Senate Bill 822, Senator Smith, Correctional Services, Maryland Parole Commission, and Erroneously Convicted Individuals, Improvements in Transparency and Equity. The Vice Chair. The Vice Chair votes aye. Delegate Valentine. Delegate Valentine votes no. Delegate Embry. Delegate Embry votes aye. Delegate Cardin. Delegate Cardin votes aye. Delegate Phillips. Delegate Phillips votes aye. Delegate Congolo. Delegate Congolo votes no. Delegate Stinnett. Delegate Stinnett votes aye. Delegate Simmons. Delegate Simmons votes aye. Delegate Boucher's absence is recorded. Delegate McComas. Delegate McComas votes no. Delegate Moreno. Delegate Moreno votes aye. Delegate Archon. Delegate Archon votes no. Delegate Taylor. Delegate Taylor votes aye. Delegate Simpson. Delegate Simpson votes aye. Delegate Mangione. Delegate Mangione votes no. Delegate Moon. Delegate Moon votes aye. Delegate Conaway. Delegate Conaway votes aye. Delegate Woods. Delegate Woods votes aye. Delegate Williams. Delegate Williams votes aye. The tally is 13-5-001. The motion carries.
All right, we're going to move on to our last and final bill because we have already voted out House Bill 577. So 810, Senate Bill 810 is our last and final bill. However, we are not going to vote that out tonight. We're going to hold it. I hope everyone has a beautiful and wonderful weekend. Don't forget to come back on Monday at 3 p.m.